is Caroline Mutiso, founder and CEO of Her Hustle, and we are an organization that focuses on supporting women entrepreneurs, access tools, resources, and also capital to be able to grow their businesses and build sustainable livelihoods. Honestly, it's from my lived experience as a woman entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was in university, and I remember at the time I was 19, and honestly, it was such a whirlwind and hustle as well. Talking to different people, trying to navigate how do you get a mentor, how do you package your business, brand, etc. And from that whole experience, I realized I wasn't the only one who was going through this challenge. I'd talked to a lot of women who were in school together, and they had mentioned that they were also experiencing challenges to, also turning down things like advances from the other gender. When you're trying to get information on how you can scale your business, and all of that was honestly an issue that a lot of people struggle with, particularly women. And I realized, why not begin something that honestly can give back to society and the community of women who are honestly genuinely looking for information to see how they can build and also start businesses. So I would say that was the start of Her Hustle, and here we are. We are building a thriving community of over 10,000 women, and excited to see what the future holds for us. We work primarily with women between the ages of 18 to 35, that's ideally young women. And the primary areas are entrepreneurship, and this year I think we've diversified that support to look at how can we not only just focus on entrepreneurs based on the different projects that we're running, but also open to the creative sector, open to women in the workforce development sector, as well as women in tech. And it's been exciting. I think since we started, or rather since inception, we've supported over 10,000 women access skills through programs that we've ran with the likes of Meta. And currently with our partnership with IBM, we're also looking to replicate the same success and support over 10,000 women on the same. And also just a little bit in cooperation of youth. But what we have seen from the data that we've gathered so far is we've seen that majority of the uptake is essentially women, which makes about 80% of the data that we currently have. I would say one of the biggest successes is being a young organization, women-led, and also being a young woman who started business without any clue of where to begin and just finding my own way. I think one of the biggest successes has been raising over $1 million in terms of funding that we've been able to receive, both cash and also in-kind support. I think right now we're over, $1.3 million. And that has been, exciting for me to see that a young woman from a village in Kakumini came to Nairobi and made her dream come true. And it makes this a story that I can also share with other women who ideally may look at where they're coming from and see that they are not able to either build such ventures or start, ideas or initiatives that ideally can grow to the kind of level where we are at currently. And also looking at the success of the women we have supported, I think the numbers speak for themselves. 10,000 is not an easy number to achieve, especially where you are seeing results that the women have an 85% increase in digital confidence. That is basically leveraging the Meta platforms to establish businesses and also just pushing themselves to get access to skills and self-driven, independent. And I think that's been exciting. And also another thing that I have seen in terms of impact and success on our end has been the return on ROI in terms of every dollar that has been invested in funding to support every woman that we've been able to walk this journey with has been over 11.3x. And that is honestly amazing. And kudos to our donors. And also adding to the numbers, we've seen that the women entrepreneurs we've supported, each of them have created over 1.5 jobs. And looking at the numbers themselves, 10,000 and multiply that by 1.5 jobs created is a huge number, meaning that women who are supported essentially are building communities to thrive. So I think I can narrow that to our success. Honestly, I think 2024 was our hardest year. We experienced funding volatility, where you would think that as much as we've raised over $1 million, it would be an easy space to navigate. But there was a lot of uncertainty. And what we did is we took a step back to restructure and try and look at what is it that we weren't able to do well in the previous year, or what did we do well such that we can replicate the same success. And we ended up restructuring. We changed our entire team. We also set up new systems, and it was a different dance. But I believe that it's what made us come back bigger and stronger. We were able to understand in order for us to build an organization that is set for scale, we have to also align ourselves with partners and also the team that we're working with to kind of, build the, from ground up, and also support us in terms of the ideas and values we share to ensure that we're able to, reach our impact and goals as well. And I think from that experience itself, it's really changed me as a person. I was challenged in terms of like my mindset and also the people I surrounded myself with in order to keep a straight, clear head. And I think from that, we've been able to do a great job. We've come back with the bigger partners and more aligned in terms of where we want to be in the next 5 years. My dream has always been to show the success of what the digital element in terms of support has been for women. I've seen women who started their businesses on Instagram and they were able to grow exponentially. And some of those women, we keep close ties to them. We have built very good relationships with them. And I think one of the challenges that we have seen is access to capital, because as much as we've done work around digital upskilling, we've seen that there's still a lot of gaps and misconceptions around what access to credit and capital actually looks like, and would want to demystify that, would want to also work with traditional financial institutions to show them that there is a lot of potential in investing in some of these businesses that are running online. And I believe that there are ways that we can show the impact that as her hustle we've generated, working with partners like Meta, having data around how these women have been able to, ideally move from an idea stage, they're running businesses online, they have transaction history, they have sales and all of that. And how can we ideally aggregate all that data and show that from their digital activity, these women are actually qualifying for access to capital. And if we can come up with new ways to give access to credit to such businesses, I think that's some of the things that I'm honestly really keen to work on. And I believe we have some partners who we are excited about and ready to test this out. So, yeah. I think based on the support that I have seen we've given to women, access to opportunities, resources, and leveling the playing field, wherever you're coming from, I think is already showing that support and resources married together are able to, advance women and support communities as well. Every support that goes to a woman, ideally, there's definitely going to be a household that has been supported, the community around that woman, there are jobs that are going to be created. So I believe from our work, essentially, if we've seen 1.5 jobs being created by every business that we have worked with, I think that shows the numbers that support why supporting women actually grows communities.